What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, managing editor of Fightful.com and FightfulWrestling.com. It is April 8th. It is WrestleMania Day. We're here to talk Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor, and other WrestleMania Day stuff. This show brought to you ad-read free by FightfulSelect.com. If you enjoy this podcast, every single week I review Ring of Honor, NXT 205 Live, Being the Elite, New Japan, stuff like that on the Fightful Weekender podcast that you can get on the Fightful Select service. We have retro shows, Q&A podcasts, matches from Jimmy Van's Vault. You can get a copy of his book. There's a ton of different things you can pick up there. Everything, including sponsor tiers. If you want to buy a block of 6 months of sponsor slots on all of our Fightful.com shows, head over to FightfulSelect.com. Today, we are talking Ring of Honor, and we're talking it with the man who covered the show. I'm sorry, John Moorehouse, who has been with us for damn near 2 years now.
Has it been that long?
Almost.
Wow.
We're closing in on it. This July, it is 2 years.
You didn't get me a card or anything.
Well, it's not there yet. We're not there.
You didn't get me a card for the first one either.
That's true. Also, you brought us Jason Kincaid, a guy
did.
who wrestled for WWE this week.
I
One
did.
of our best writers. If you all haven't checked out his stuff, there's a little search bar at the top of Fightful.com that says enter keywords. Just type in Jason Kincaid and you will go down a rabbit hole of awesomeness. A lot of fun reading that guy's stuff. But Ring of Honor, I'm going to cut a promo on their streaming service today, John.
Go for it.
So
do that now?
this service, yeah, we'll go ahead and do it now because
Okay.
I'm going to be honest with you all. I had to use nefarious means in order to watch this show. Yes,
No.
yes, John. Because we as a company, Fightful, paid for our subscription. We don't get like comped that or anything by Ring of Honor. We paid for it just like everybody else does. And we gave it to you to use for the coverage. It's like, you know what? I'll watch it after UFC.
Mm-hmm.
And I got messages from you during the broadcast saying, well, the same thing's happening that always happens.
Mm-hmm.
Streaming issues.
Yep.
And they claimed that it exceeded their planned, I don't know, server bandwidth, whatever. They're owned by a broadcast company, John.
Yeah, a big one.
Maybe the biggest, right?
One of the biggest
One
right
of the
now,
biggest.
I think. And
Son
just
of a bitch.
and it's the fact that this is the first time I've done one of these for you guys. It's actually the first time I've done watched one of their pay-per-views live. But from being on the internet, this happens all the time with them. All the time.
It happened last month. Not only that, you go to the Ring of Honor. First off, you Google ROH Honor Club. You get an announcement page at the top. Not like a basic splash page that's like, here, welcome to Ring of Honor Club. A lot of people don't realize you just go to their website, sign in, and you're able to check it out. So that's an issue in its own. Then you get there. Where's Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor on that show? Where on that page? Nowhere. They're promoting like Steel City Excellence or some Cody versus Matt Taven show.
They've already moved on to their next show.
Yeah, but I mean, it was within minutes last night. Mm-hmm. I went there and they were already shilling Cody versus Matt Taven, and I'm like, and it's up there now, Masters of the Craft. And I'm like, bro, where is your Supercard of Honor stuff? And then I see it in little letters up the top.
Yeah.
So I click that. I go there, and they are running this event on Ustream. I guess Justin.tv was not available. I'm guessing channelsurfing.eu wouldn't have Ring of Honor. Were First Row Sports, were they busy? Was
Yes.
VIPbox.tv, was that too hard?
They were at TakeOver.
They were TakeOver. Indeed, they were.
Which apparently, for like, I think it's funny. We can get into all the nuts and bolts. It's funny that, you know, WWE, which is the mainstream company, outwork rated the work rate company.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see TakeOver.
We'll get to that.
From what I
We'll get
gathered.
to that.
Okay.
So I had to prioritize these based on importance, and that way I could discuss everything on podcasts. And obviously the UFC show, we're a crossover site, had to cover that. Was going to cover, or I did cover NXT TakeOver, did the podcast, all that good stuff. planned on getting the majority of Ring of Honor in last night. Well, based on what you had told me, starting with the pre-show, it was almost a 6-hour show.
It sure was.
I did not get to watch the semifinal matches, unfortunately. Also, I skipped whatever Beer City Bruiser was involved in. I just said, okay, I'm going to pass on that one. And I checked out Chucky T, Gresham, Punishment, Ibushi, the title finals, everything else on the show I caught.
Okay.
So after concluding the UFC podcast, I set out to watch this 6-hour show. I get to the Ustream link, which is 3 hours long. Keep in mind, I didn't pirate it on Ustream. Ustream is the service Ring of Honor uses.
If only Ring of Honor was owned by a broadcasting magnate that could maybe provide some means for them to stream it themselves through their own company.
Exactly.
If only.
So I immediately noticed the video is 2 hours, 59 minutes long. And I said, something's wrong here. I look on Ring of Honor's page and they say, oh, don't worry. It'll start as soon as the first part ends. It just automatically flips over. So I try to skip around because I'm not going to sit through 15 minutes of a stream will start soon screen. And it freezes. Okay. Whatever. So I try to I finally get the stream to start. It buffers repeatedly. Whatever. I ended up having to pirate Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor to cover it for you guys. And I have no shame in saying that because we paid our money for it. Now, Ring of Honor's YouTube or Facebook says that they're going to give VIP subscribers $40 in merch or something. I don't know. We'll figure something out. We'll do a giveaway on FightfulSelect.com. Mother of God. Let's go ahead and get into the show.
Okie doke. It was. I will say this. Let me say this about the link first. And me in general, because I think this is the first time I have done a podcast with you guys. Me and Ring of Honor go back a ways. I was there at the first Supercard of Honor in 2006. I was there in person. Show was insanely long. Bryan Danielson and Roderick Strong were in the main event for the title. It started at about midnight Central Time, and they went almost an hour.
I'm going to suggest to Ring of Honor next year, 1, they run Friday. Next year, 2, they limit it to 3 hours.
Here's the thing. That show, I think this one was longer. I would have to go back and check. It certainly felt longer. And for reasons we'll get into because of pacing and the fact that a lot of it for the self-described best wrestling on the planet, a lot of it was really just kind of skippable. Yeah.
For a loaded card, too, I thought. They could have done, with all due respect to Gresham and Chucky T, they could have done without that match.
So I didn't get to see that because LOL streaming. That's
well, there you go. I can skip right over that. Solid work. Had a fine match. You knew Chucky T was going to win. They don't seem interested in giving Gresham much of anything. Did you see Punishment Martinez and Tomohiro Ishii?
I want to say something about Gresham. I didn't see that match, but their continued refusal not to do anything with him is just one of many baffling booking decisions. Because, I get it. He's super small, but he's so unique and different on the mat with the things that he does, and it would be something unique that they could do, and a different thing that they could do with things. But instead, no, we'll just have him lose. So
he's a 50-50 kind of guy. Did you see Punishment Martinez versus Tomohiro Ishii? Did your stream come back for that?
It did. I saw Punishment Martinez nearly die for our sins on that plancha to the floor, which I don't know why. I get it. He does the jumpy stuff, but it felt like to me like he was watching Takeover in the back. I was like, oh, I need to go do some crazy big guy stuff.
Lita-esque on that face scoot on the plancha that he did, and then he hit a tope con hilo, then a super Frankensteiner.
Yeah,
he had an amazing match, I think, with Marty Scurll at one of the last pay-per-views, and I thought this was a good follow-up. I knew that he needed a win here because you can only get along being the 6.5-foot guy that keeps losing for so long, and I thought Tomohiro Ishii was a big win for him. This was the showcase match for Punishment Martinez. And I actually have a making a finisher segment for his South of Heaven chokeslam that'll be out this year. It'll be up on Fightful Select early, guys. So make sure you all register, you all subscribe there. But yeah, he won with his set out chokeslam. I thought this was a pretty good match.
I liked it. I thought it was good. And the fact that he beat one of who I would say one of the guys booked is one of the toughest guys in New Japan. Clean as a sheet, middle of the ring, hit him with the finisher once. That was it. Maybe herald some big things for Martinez in the future. And I think he's one of the guys definitely in Ring of Honor that has the most upside, assuming they can, keep him, because he's also a guy I think WWE definitely would be after at some point if he becomes available, because he's big, because he can fly around, he can do a lot of stuff.
I like this performance. I always like interviewing Punishment Martinez, so this was a good one. Also a good one. I loved Kota Ibushi and Hangman Page. I thought this was the match that Hangman Page deserved at Long Beach, but unfortunately Ibushi was booked. This was the opposite of Hangman Page against Jay White. This was fast-paced. It accentuated both Ibushi and Hangman's skill sets. They worked a faster style. Page got suplexed on his neck and shoulder from the barricade. That was nasty looking. And Colt Cabana was even like, on commentary, do we got to see this every single event we do?
Yeah. Speaking of the commentary, Ian and Colt Cabana, fantastic.
I liked them until the main event. I thought the main event was a little...
Well, especially as long as the show was.
Yeah.
And as someone who has done commentary himself, and you've done it, when shows are super long and you're doing commentary, it is very difficult to keep your ear. I've had trouble with that before on shows that were 3 or 4 hours. I can't imagine almost going 6. But
6, yeah.
They always seem prepared. Colt is throwing in good little tidbits throughout, especially on Cody and Omega. But yeah, this match was great. And this match to me, I think, was one of those where I thought Page should have won as someone they're building up, but I thought he almost came out of it looking a lot stronger, even with the loss, just the way the match played out. Some of those crazy, that suplex was just... After
Sakura Genesis, I thought that Ibushi had to get a pin back on somebody.
That's fair.
So I could see that. I love Colt Cabana's willingness to call out, like when moves are applied incorrectly or whenever something wrong is done on commentary. That's his job, man. He's supposed to do that. And I thought that really up until the main event, the commentary was A+. And there was a lot I didn't like about the main event, but we'll talk about that when it happens. Just incredible work from these two guys. It's the kind of match that Hangman Page needed, because he's fairly over because of the being the Elite Series, and his work is very exciting, but he needed that dance partner in a one-on-one scenario to show that his matches could sustain that. And I think you could put this up there with Kenny and Cody for match of the night, because
those are my top 2.
Yeah, they had it out. Anything else to add to this, Ibushi and Page?
Not much. Just I think it's really awesome for Adam Page as somebody who, I think I first saw in some regional independent stuff around here, and then he kind of came his way up the Ring of Honor. I remember right around maybe the time he was starting Ring of Honor, going to a show in South Carolina with a buddy of mine who lives here, and he tagged with Adam Page. So he's made a really sharp progression in a pretty short amount of time compared to a lot of other guys in the business. And I just think I'm very happy for Adam Page.
Speaking of FightfulSelect.com, Adam Page and his finisher, Last Rites, that will be one on making a finisher, and it will be up way early on Fightful Select in the coming weeks.
I really like, speaking of moves, I really like that tombstone he did where it was like a straight jacket cradle tombs. I'd never seen that before. Yeah.
I love that. I just like doing something a little bit different. Show me something a little different, and that's what he did. And I can appreciate that. Ring of Honor women's championship, the Women of Honor championship tournament match.
Lord.
Okay. Man. Okay, so
I got things to say about this.
Short match, abrupt match. Kelly Kline's winning streak ended in this match by a 46-year-old woman. There are 4 other women in this tournament I would have had win this besides Sumi Sakai. And Iwatani isn't one of them, because if you watch that Deonna Purrazzo match, she had Deonna Purrazzo like waiting on her offense, waiting to take her offense in this match. Why not Purrazzo? Why not Tennille Dashwood? Why not Kelly Kline? Those 3 in particular. I've said this over and over again. Kelly Kline versus Bonesaw Brooks, that's a match you all should go watch. That was incredible. I did like that they brought all the other women out there to kind of cheer them on. That was a nice touch, I guess.
Well, they were cheering on Sumi, clearly.
Yeah.
I thought, they're rooting for her against the bully of the division and whatever else. But, man,
doesn't make any sense. 46-year-old woman. I get it. She wrestled
why do you put somebody from Stardom in the semifinals over one of your homegrown people, fly her in from Japan to lose on Facebook. One, that's a stupid way to spend money. Yep. Two, the only reason I can figure out that they put it on Sumi is as some kind of nod to the fact of the history and the fact she's been there and she was in their very first women's match 16 years ago and what all, and yay, that's cool. This was just, I think I referred to it either on my Twitter or the site Twitter as a baffling booking decision. It is a baffling. It's flabbergasting like, for her, for the final to not be Kline and Dashwood with the way that the semifinals were broken down. And then for Kline to lose like that and lose her undefeated streak, and the way the finish, that finish had, I don't know if somebody got like legit knocked out and they had to audible something, or if it got screwed up or something, but it was the fact that she lost her streak. And it was such an underwhelming way. Like the match just kind of ended. And it was like, okay, I guess that's it. All right.
It was weird. It was awkward. This should have been Deonna Purrazzo and Kelly Kline, or Tennille Dashwood and Kelly Kline, or Tennille Dashwood and Deonna Purrazzo. Any of those three women.
Yeah.
And I look back at this and I'm like, you know, it kind of reminds me of like Otani being the first cruiserweight champion in WCW and Taka Michinoku being the first WWF light heavyweight champion in WWF. So I can kind of see the parallels there, but Sumi Sakai is not over in America. She's not. It just wasn't good. She got it because of services rendered. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was a lifetime achievement award kind of thing.
And I would argue that Kelly Kline and Deonna Purrazzo have both done more to build up women's wrestling and Ring of Honor than Sumi Sakai ever did. And I get it. Sumi Sakai's been in and out, yada, yada, since 2002, but
I wondered, like, when they all came out around the ring and like Dashwood was one of them out there, I thought, well, maybe she's going to do something and like turn heel and like screw over Sumi, and then Kelly Kline are going to win. No, we're just going to do it this way. It's weird. It's bad. It's on a show that where I thought there was lots of weird booking decisions and lots of bad, not even like finishes. And that's one thing. I may be getting too technical here. The first 4 or 5 matches, if you count the 2 women's semifinals, which you didn't see, I saw them. They're pretty good. They're worth watching, which is like my low metric. Is a match either worth watching or it isn't? They're worth watching. You should go see them. They're pretty good. Those matches in Ibushi Page all had the same spot where like I'm on the apron and I'm going to do the shoulder block and you're going to move and you're going to kick me, and like that set up the heat. That happened 3 times in like the first 5 matches. Like talk to each other and come up with some different. The Ibushi Page and then Dashwood Sakai, literally the exact same spot. Went through, kicked them, and did the neck breaker on the ropes. Like,
so they paid. They paid Iwatani to fly in and lose, and then they paid Tennille to come in and lose. Tennille cannot be cheap. Tennille has a real opportunity to be the first maybe American independent female wrestler to be like a significant draw based on the types of stuff that she's done so far and the crowds that she's brought in. Like, it's looking real good for her. Puzzling from a financial
the finish
standpoint.
of the finals is just like, I'm gonna hit a moonsault, and then we're gonna scramble around and look lost, and I'm gonna DDT you, and then that's it. Okay,
it was bad.
If it was like bad. 1986, that would probably work for me, but not now, and not against somebody you've built up as your division monster.
Definitely not running parallel to Shayna Baszler and Ember Moon on NXT TakeOver, where they are stomping each other's elbows.
It's also weird, as much as women's wrestling is so popular right now, and as much as the Women of Honor do so much media, and the way that they're still kind of marginalized as a whole by Ring of Honor, like, it's weird. I thought when Dashwood came in, maybe they're going to start ramping this up a little bit and capitalize on what's hot really across the business, and they're still just not. And
they also do some favors for people that are dating certain people, etc. That tends to happen a lot in Ring of Honor, and that's weird because there's a lot of good women's talent out there, and you better get a hold of it because WWE's running another Mae Young Classic this year. So
anyway,
I'm like Britt Baker's out there, man. Like Tessa Blanchard's out there. Madison Eagles is out there.
Mia Yim
is out. Well, she just came back, so she wouldn't have been ready for the tournament, but She's out there. It's weird. ROH six-man tag team championship. SoCal and Sinister defeated the Young Bucks and Flip Gordon. If you would have told me this would be the second best ladder match of Saturday night, I would have told you were lying, but it was, and that's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. The TKO from the ladder in this match wasn't executed as well as the one from TakeOver, but it was higher up. That was cool. I like Matt Jackson using heavyweight spots now, like spears.
Yeah.
That cracks me up that since he's a heavyweight now, he does heavyweight moves. I think that's funny stuff.
Matt selling the back was one of the best parts of this match to me.
Has been for 3 months.
Yeah, it's great. Meanwhile, you got, and this is one thing, I understand it's a ladder match. It's a car crash. Everybody's doing stuff. I don't think Flip Gordon sold a damn thing for everyone. He went face first into the ladder while on the top of it and fell down, and a minute later was up like he was fine.
It's still an amazing spot, though.
It was great. It would have been much greater if you sold it for more than 20 seconds. Like, I'm not a Flip. I can respect his athleticism and what he can do in the ring. I do think he needs a finisher called the Flat Earth. I think that would be awesome. But his continued, like, I'm just not, as much as people shit on Ospreay. Oh, he doesn't sell anything. He sells stuff way more than Flip does. Flip wrestles and acts like a video game great wrestler.
It's something that I had pointed out in a previous podcast, the Fightful Weekender, which you all can see at FightfulSelect.com. Register, subscribe now.
Product plug.
He looks like he is always waiting for the next spot, like looking for the next spot that's going to happen. That's what it always seems like. And I'm sure he'll get better. Working with these 5 guys is a way to get better.
Sure.
That spot he did on the top of the ladder was one of the most exhilarating spots I've ever seen in ladder match history. He was standing on top of it, fell, and cracked his face on the top of it. Now, as you said,
taken him out for the whole match.
Yeah.
He was up a minute later, and he was fine.
That's a match ender. Match ender. And this is a match where you can get away with spot fest.
Not only was he better a minute later, he came back out twice more before the show was over.
So, and that's the thing. When you have 6 guys like this, you don't have to employ a ton of psychology. It's made very, very easy for you.
Yeah.
Like, nobody has to watch you sell, but you have to be absent in that regard. And I thought that was tough. That being said, I thought this was still a very good match. This was the first time I've ever liked Flip Gordon's kip-up spot when he was avoiding the ladder, the old Terry Funk spot.
What about the ladder hopscotch?
It made a lot of sense. It was really good. There was a back body drop 450 by the Bucks and Flip that I thought looked really, really good onto that ladder.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the offense from the Bucks got sloppy, but they had sold Matt's back injury so much that it played into it. Like, I didn't know, did they plan for this offense to be sloppy or not? Because of Matt's back injury and how it's been a running storyline for 3 months, I was like, okay, is this a part of the match that they don't connect on some of this offense? Or are they just legitimately exhausted? It was really hard to tell, and that's a very good thing.
And then the little, like, when he was up top and he was going to reach, but he couldn't reach all the way because his back hurt. Like, that was so good. And then Nick Jackson hopscotching across the ladders and doing the crazy dive to the floor. That was really good. My big thing about this match is I would have liked it a lot better if, no disrespect, there was 100% less Kingdom in it.
I was about to say that.
I get why they did it, because, like, oh, they kicked him out and they're banned from the show, so it makes sense that they come back and whatever. But, like, it was unnecessary. I think I was talking to Rob Naylor, bannering on Twitter a little bit, and some other person came in like, oh, how about that ladder match? One of my favorite matches of the year. And I was like, needed 100% less Kingdom. And then they stole the belt, so I guess we're going to like a 3-way with these guys, but it was just not. It was the one of several things that happened on this show that was completely unnecessary and made no sense within the greater narrative picture of what happened in the show.
I would wager that Kingdom has the wrong kind of heat. They have go away heat. And I know your Ring of Honor likes Matt Taven a lot, and he's shown some good things over the past several months, but how many times can you do the Ring of Honor is out to get me angle? They did it with the Rebellion last year and the Cabinet. They did it with
Scum.
They did it with Scum. They did it with Cedric Alexander and Veda Scott. They've done it with all these people, like all heels. How many times can you do it?
They do it with the Daniels and they've done it with them. They're out to get us and we're going to quit. And, we're just not, now they're in this thing.
That's true. Yeah. All the time they run this spot back. Cut it out. There's
Did you just make a Dave Coulier reference? I think you did. Cut it out. I'm old. Never
speaking
mind.
of after that Flip Gordon spot, later on he's hitting a 450 off the top rope through a table. Matt gets pushed off a ladder and elbows Vinny through a table. Daniels gets the title and wins. Kingdom steal the belts. I thought this was a good match, but man, I thought on my ranking system, it would have went from a 7.5 to about a 9 if Flip Gordon had sold and if Kingdom wouldn't have been involved.
The Kingdom, I think, were just there they were there to steal the belts and provide more people to get thrown through tables. And everybody that says it's good, yeah, it was good. It wasn't great. And for me, the gold standard of ladder matches for Ring of Honor, as far as a team one, is that 3-team from All-Star Extravaganza in 26, the one with the Bucks,
Ladder War,
the one with the Bucks, the Addiction, and Machine Guns.
That was great. Yeah,
that match is awesome. This match was not anywhere near that good.
Nowhere near that good. Not near as good as that match either was the Briscoes against Tanahashi and Jay Lethal. And you knew that Jay Lethal or that Tanahashi was going to be on autopilot, but it didn't have any sense of urgency early on and little reaction. I'm glad that Mark Briscoe kicked out of Jay Lethal's finish, though, because, one, I don't like the finish. I think that doing a springboard or handspring into that is pointless. But it helps portray Mark Briscoe as a main eventer, and the crowd was cooking for that. Mm-hmm. Mark Briscoe has never had that top main event level run yet. Jay has. So they still have room to do that and a story to tell there. Unfortunately, this match didn't click. Briscoe's won with the Doomsday device. What'd you think of it?
I thought it was a foregone conclusion match because there was no way they were winning. So it's like, why do it? If you want to have Tanahashi on the show, cool. Put him in a 6-man or something. This felt like a house show main event during a road to whatever show in New Japan.
You're right.
It felt like a match. We're going to put the main event guy in there, and we're going to go in there, and we're going to kind of fart around, but you're going to know who is winning even before the match starts. That said, I like me some heel Briscoes. I like what they're doing. I like because, you know, they get vicious like when they were giving Chris Sabin J drillers on chairs, but then they're still like a sophisticated tag team, like when the Heat first started and they go outside and Jay Briscoe yells at the referee, which one's legal? Like little touches like that, I enjoy so much. They're such a good tag team, and while it will never happen, I would love to see like an Usos Briscoes match or a New Day, bro. But Usos Briscoes to me is the match, like the dream match I would like to see. But this match was coming, and then you had the intermission, which is dumb. Why have an intermission on an iPay-per-view? Then you have this match, which went too long, and it was one of those matches that when it started, you could tell they were going to go long. And with everything else that was still to come, it just felt unnecessary. And it was just kind of there. Meh.
I would agree. A match worth missing.
And Tanahashi didn't even do like a lot of his stuff. You didn't get, even in New Japan when they're going out there and just kind of going through the motions, you still gonna get your greatest hits from everybody. He did a couple sling blades, and that was about it.
Autopilot.
Cool.
Ring of Honor Television Championship, last man standing. Silas Young defeated Kenny King to become the ROH TV champion. Austin Aries didn't wrestle on this show.
No.
Who was doing commentary on that ladder match, by the way?
The third guy was Shane Taylor.
Okay. He didn't say a lot. He was very quiet.
Yeah.
But interviewed Shane. Good dude. Silas Young, Kenny King. I thought this was going to be Austin Aries against somebody based on the way that they set it up at the 16th anniversary. That wasn't the case. This was basically a hardcore match with a couple of big table spots. King hits an unbelievable shooting star press that was like not as smooth as most of them, but I didn't even know he could do, and did it to the outside of the ring. That was awesome. I liked the finish where Kenny King's. You didn't.
As much as I love old school wrestling and grew up on it, I didn't like the finish.
Well, let me talk him through it. Beer City Bruiser's underneath the ring. We can't see him. He zip ties Kenny King's feet so Silas can win. I think I just love the undying friendship of Silas Young and Beer City Bruiser.
That's pretty good. And Bruiser's like little troll face when he came out, like, I gotcha. That was okay. But I think like that was such a cool spot, and it was so unexpected from Kenny King, and it just felt cheap, and the crowd didn't care for it either. As for the Aries thing, you might have missed it because I know you were skipping through trying to get through because the show was 6 hours long.
Yes.
Aries came out after they did a little video package and basically cut a promo and was like, hey, I want the winner. And then he went and joined commentary. And then after that, and they beat him down and he came down and made the save and all that. Another reason I didn't like the finish, while I enjoy Silas Young, I kind of like the idea of an Aries Kenny King match a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that was what, I mean, if I had to pick one that I get to see, I think Aries and Kenny King mesh better, unless you're going to put King in and make it a 3-way, and that seems silly, but that it was such a decisive spot with the, you know, he pulled out all the stops, he did this big crazy move, put him through the table, it looked beautiful, and then, you know, the finish was what it was.
So, like, it's hard for me to get that into a Kenny King match in general these days, but it's just like it's such a far fall from where he was in BDC and Ring of Honor the first time, and even when I was interested in him coming out of Tough Enough, but it's coming back a little bit. Bully Ray comes out. He heals Cheeseburger and Joe Koff. I really hope Joe, all due respect to him, does not become an on-screen character because that seems to be the next thing. It's just what usually happens, and it doesn't need to be. Flip Gordon comes out, tries to make the save, but Bully threatens to pile drive Cheeseburger, which would get the show pulled.
That was clever.
That was clever. A lot of people know that ROH was exempt from this, but I thought it was still a good touch. He power bombs Cheeseburger instead.
That's the only, that spot is the only justification I can see for doing this on this show.
Bully Ray overwhelmed some of Ring of Honor TV over the last month.
You had the Louisiana thing. Yeah. And that's the only you could do. That's why we're doing it now. That's the only justification I can think of doing this. They're like, we're going to have this extra match. And I said out loud in an empty room, why? Like, there's already, you still got more stuff we got to get through. Why are you doing this? And it's like, oh, we're going to give Bully like a happy moment. Oh, no, he's going to turn. Okay, heel authority figure. We've never seen that before. And then the promo and just, it all just, if you're going to do it, and we can have a whole different discussion about whether we think this is a good idea from a creative standpoint. All of it could have easily been done on a TV taping. Aside from the pile driver spot, which you have to do in Louisiana. I didn't care for it. I really thought the "you're kind" line from Bully, and it's not what he meant, but the way he set it up, I thought it was shitty. I didn't care for this at all. And maybe that was because I was already like 4 hours deep into this thing. Yeah. It all just seems superfluous. I don't care for the turn. I don't care for the idea of a Flip Gordon leading the new generation against the old guard thing. That sounds awful because I don't like Flip so much. Sorry. It's got nothing to do with the flat earthing thing. I'm not a Flip Gordon guy yet. And it just leaves me feeling very bleh about the future of where Ring of Honor goes from here with this, if it becomes a major storyline.
Cody with Brandy Rhodes defeated Kenny Omega. I thought this was probably match of the night up there with Hangman Page and Kota Ibushi. But the story that they have built over the last almost year really, really added into this. It left me with questions, but without feeling like I got ripped off for a dirty main event. So very, very cool. This added even more to the story that I thought could have ended as a result of this match, but they've got all in to build up to in about 5 months. There was an aspect of Young Bucks super kicking Omega on accident, Brandy getting put to the table. Flip Gordon, even though I don't like her, there has been that story, or like him, that story of him having the crush on Brandy. That will play into things, how he helped her out. And Cody just winning in general, despite all that stuff, the only thing Kenny Omega cared about, not his wife, not what the Bucks were doing, not about Flip Gordon, he just wanted to beat Kenny Omega. That's all the guy wanted to do. And he is just continued to be one of the top heels outside of WWE, maybe even including WWE. Great story, great in-ring work. A lot of people will say it was only good because of Omega, and he was a big part. But Cody's character work over the last 16 months made this match as big as it was, and I loved it. I thought it was really good stuff.
With all due respect, as much as I like the Gargano Ciampa thing, this is the best story in wrestling. Yeah, to me. And when Cody first,
they've had to tell it a lot more consistently.
They have. When Cody first left going around, and when he first even came around, and even when he was the champion, I really wasn't that impressed. But he has really evolved into a top heel. I love I loved he pulled out every dirty old school heel trick in the book in this match. I love the fact that you've got somebody who's Dusty Rhodes' son, and he basically wrestles like Ric Flair, who was his father's greatest nemesis. I love things like that. I love the little touches throughout it. I love that it was one of those matches, and we talked about earlier, guys on the big show pulling out moves they've never done before. Cody Rhodes did a vertebreaker on this show. That was crazy to me. He's like, oh, we'll just have Cody Rhodes do a vertebreaker. The false finishes I thought were great. The Brandy Rhodes bump through the table was cool. It got Flip Gordon back on the screen again, so yay for that. I like the spot with the Bucks, and they didn't know what they were going to do. The whole thing, the whole story, the crowd was super hot. Like you said, probably best match of the show. Maybe match of the year type deal. Maybe we'll see. And it definitely should have gone last. I was very surprised this match wasn't last, and it should have been last.
It definitely should have been last. It was the main event, and based on the reaction that the main event got, this definitely should have been last. There are just some matches that are bigger than your championship match, and I will go ahead and talk about the main event. It coupled in with this because I don't think there was a lot to talk about in the main event. This was like 2015 to early 2017 NXT for me, where there were a lot of matches that outshined your main event, and your main event had this slow, more methodical pace that the crowd didn't really want. After all the things that they saw throughout the night, they didn't want a slow, methodical match out of Marty Scurll and Dalton Castle. Dalton Castle won.
Yeah.
And they didn't really get into this match until the very end. And there was a spot about 26 minutes in where they were ready to go, and Dalton Castle was late to kick out. And Todd Sinclair, as is tradition, is made to look like an oaf. Nick Aldis at ringside. I didn't necessarily like the match being called like a golf tournament, like really quiet, like Dalton Castle, he grabs the wrist lock. I was like, oh, come on, guys. Ian and Cole are better than that. I know it's to add gravity and seriousness to the situation, and to build to when they get excited, it's the peak of the match, but it just wasn't for me. It's a tough sell. It was a tough sell, and I like Dalton Castle. I like Marty Scurll, but 5,800 people, and you could have heard a pin drop it sometimes.
I think it's a match that is viewed better in a vacuum.
Yes.
Like, it's one I want to go back and watch when I've not been sitting there for 5 hours. I think it was a bad decision to have, and I talked about pacing. This show, as far as the pacing and the way it was laid out, was not done well. Everything took too long. The tag title match was too long. And then you have this big, huge Kenny Omega match. And then, hey, we're going to have another match after that. And hey, we're going to have them go 30 plus minutes. Bad idea. You have to understand the limits of your audience. The limits of a live audience. Any live audience, even the most diehard, barrier smacking, live tweeting, fan fest, pay $100 for a meet and greet crowd is going to get tired. And after Cody and Omega, they were worn out. So they should have either flipped them and still probably shaved some time off this, or had these guys just go out and work like a little sprint. Cut that match in half. It probably feels a whole lot better. But instead, we got this really... I thought a lot of the stuff that was in it was technically good. I liked a lot of the arm stuff that Scurll did. I liked how Dalton Castle sold that very consistently. It had the big match feel. Scurll wore the all gold. You skipped entrances. He had like the all gold hat and the mask and stuff. Looked super cool. I liked it even better than the white. But it was the wrong style of match at the wrong place and time in the card and everything else. If you go back and watch that match in a couple weeks just by itself, it's probably going to seem a lot better.
The crowd was a bad part of it for me, a rough part of it for me.
Oh, yeah. Two of the false finishes down the end, the crowd just started booing, and it wasn't a boo, our guy didn't win. It was boo as in, we're ready to go home.
Dalton Castle not kicking out when he was supposed to 26 minutes in didn't help. The crowd shit all over.
I did like the broken finger spot with Sinclair, though. That was really good.
I like that as well.
PWF Street Fight, or PWG Freudian Slip Street Fight, where they broke the fingers.
At ringside hands Scurll a couple of snippers, clippers, whatever you want to call them, take the turnbuckle off. But Scurll clips like 3 of them, and it hangs on the rope, and it slides down the rope on the hard camera side, so they couldn't use wide shots. They had to go to ringside shots heavily throughout this. Skrull, after a powder spot, Todd Sinclair gets his fingers broken. Skrull locks in the chicken wings and then breaks Castle's finger. Bangarang hits. Castle gets the win. Yeah, a decent match, but after Cody Kenny, that was rough, man.
Wrong spot, wrong place and time. I'm hoping, and with Ring of Honor, you don't know. I'm assuming that Nick Aldis maybe will show up on the next TV taping and will explain why he was there. But, you know, who knows? It may be one of those things where he's just never seen again. I don't trust Ring of Honor creative right now at all, aside from this Cody Omega Bullet Club thing. I don't trust anything they're doing. That's
Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes creative with what that is.
Yep.
Like Ring of Honor doesn't have that much to do with what they do. So that was Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor. Yeah. What stood out to you the most on this show, good, bad, and different?
Adam Page is the MVP to me, just because I thought he raised his game and should be a major player for them going forward. Kenny and Cody is fantastic, and I think when all the dust settles and everyone is able to catch up, I'm watching all the things from this weekend that they missed. That will be probably at least, I would think, one of the top 5 matches that goes on all weekend, if not maybe top 3. And also, unfortunately, what stands out for them is the fact the show was just too damn long and had some, in my opinion, some really bad booking in places, and was just paid. If you want to learn how to not pace a major show, watch this. Watch this show.
A great example. Guys, we have stories up on Fightful.com right now. We got the Alicia Fox, Travis Brown video. I'm working to find out more about that situation, but I'm told there's no heat on Ronda Rousey. Apparently, Davey Boy Smith and Jake the Snake Roberts got into an incident when Davey Boy Smith Jr. tossed a cup of coffee at Jake Roberts at WrestleCon. My God, we have the WWE WrestleMania Access results. Just all kinds of cool stuff over at Fightful.com. I covered UFC 223 last night, NXT TakeOver New Orleans. I had a breaking news podcast on the Conor McGregor mess on Friday. We will talk more about that Tuesday on the Holy Smokes MMA podcast. But tonight, WrestleMania 34.
WrestleMania Day.
That's right. We're going to have a loaded podcast immediately following. I'm talking minutes, seconds after here at Fightful.com. And at youtube.com/Fightful. Leave us a thumbs up and subscribe. But visit Fightful Select. Just check it out. There might be some stuff you're interested in. And if there's not, tell me what you would be interested in. Tell me what would make you a subscriber. I posted a little scoop up there about who was the agent for the NXT New Orleans ladder match on FightfulSelect.com. So check that out. John, let the people know where they can follow you on Twitter.
John_Moorehouse. I'm also on the Facebook and the Instagrams, and I write stuff for Fightful and do live coverage like this. But if there's another 6-hour Ring of Honor pay-per-view, I may need like hazard pay or something because it was too much. But I'm looking forward to WrestleMania, and I don't have to do a podcast, which means I can go eat my WrestleMania steak and drink some scotch and chill out. So that's what I'm going to do right now.
I think I'm going to have pigs in a blanket or something. I've been eating carbs WrestleMania week. I lay off of them normally, but it's WrestleMania week. I got to have the energy.
We do special steaks every year with like a marinade that fits the location. So I'm going to go have my Cajun marinade steak, but happy WrestleMania Day to you, man.
Yeah, we're going to wrap up here, guys. Join our live discussion. It is over at Fightful.com right now. I've had it open all morning long. You know we're here for Raw after Mania, SmackDown after Mania as well. Guys, thank you. Until next time, we are out.